Welcome aboard, Air Transport Statistics Channel, broadcasting from Netherlands. In this channel, I would like to present a series of videos regarding the aviation industry. Unlike other sophisticated analysts or YouTubers, I am not a professional stock investor, so I cannot guide you with the proper financial perspective. But as a nerd of aviation and with my experience in an air finance company, I can provide you some useful information, especially from a long-term perspective as a fundamental analysis, which is not often mentioned by such analysts. Perhaps, I cannot suggest to you which airline stock to buy, but I can nudge you the direction for your investment. At first, I would like to look through and analyze the financial condition of the top 10 passenger airlines by revenue. I suppose there are a bunch of interests in the airline sector, especially these days, due to the COVID-19 impact, and huge interest in value stocks. In this first video, I would like to show you an overview of the top 10 airlines as of 2019. This video will be just basic information. Later on, in the following videos, I would like to upload further detailed information of individual airlines. Firstly, the revenue. Please keep in mind that all data is, as of 2019. So, the top 3 US airlines occupy the world's top positions. And surprisingly, their difference is very tiny. We can see how big the air travel market is in the US. Lufthansa Group is currently top 3, which consists of German Lufthansa, Eurowings, Austrian Airlines, Swiss International Airlines, and Brussels Airlines. Then the revenue amount decreases a little bit with the top 4 group. Air France-KLM Group follows after United and IAG, which includes British Airways, Iberia, Aer Lingus, and so on. And number 7, Southwest Airlines. I initially thought that Southwest is higher than this. Apparently, it used to be higher, but it has been decreased these years. Which doesn't mean they are not growing. Southwest is the only LCC in the top 10. I thought Ryanair is also listed here. But in terms of revenue, Ryanair is lower, accordingly. And then, China Southern Airlines. Chinese carriers are rapidly growing ones. China Eastern is ranked among number 10. And lastly, All Nippon Airways or ANA is number 9, which surpassed Japan Airlines in the last decade. As a result, US airlines are ranked pretty much high, and European carriers follow. And then Asian airlines come to the third group in this ranking. Looking at their profit, Southwest, IAG, and Delta are doing very well. It is often said that the airline industry stands out, but not lucrative. However, actually their financial condition was pretty well. This is, of course, before the corona. This becomes a disaster in 2020 obviously. For American Airlines and Air France-KLM, they are not so good, and I am not sure why. We will look into it in other videos. It is also interesting that Chinese carriers are also stagnated. Presumably, it is because of the political tension between US, China or Hong Kong, but we will see this later as well. Next, equity ratio. This is something to show how much shareholders' equity do airlines have in relation to debt. If this is low, then it can represent that airlines have more debt, which indicates an unhealthy financial condition. So, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic era, this figure is important. But as you can see, American Airlines shows a negative figure, excessive liabilities. Company can strategically bring it to excessive liabilities situation, therefore, it is not an absolute indicator. Looking at this, ANA is the highest figure, which is quite surprising for me, because compared to Japan Airlines, it is said that ANA has a smaller equity ratio. But looking at other global network carriers, ANA is still higher than them. For your information, JAL has 59%. Traditionally Japanese big companies tend to have a higher equity ratio. Then the US carriers follow. I don't know why only American Airlines has such a low figure. Southwest is quite high. This is a unique analysis, which is not done by other stock dealer. This shows how much extent of the cargo sector do airlines have, in terms of revenue. For your information, The non-air transport sector is excluded here, such as maintenance business or financial service. I assume this indicator is important during COVID-19, because obviously air cargo business can make more money than the passenger sector nowadays. As a matter of fact, Korean Air, which has a high degree of cargo sector, is now doing very well even in this period. Even passenger aircraft can carry cargo in its belly, the bottom of aircraft, by container, or sometimes by bulk cargo. For example, passenger type 777-300 can carry 70 tons of belly cargo, which is very amazing. This is close to the payload of MD-11 freighter aircraft, which has a capacity of 90 tons. So, it is reasonable that currently many airlines operate passenger aircraft with empty seats, but a full amount of belly cargo. The cargo capability is very significant in this era to gain more profit. Because the passenger flights are currently limited dramatically, the supply for cargo is also limited. And unlike passenger demand, freighter demand is continuously high relatively, so the unit price of cargo is going up than before. Anyway, looking at the ranking. So, Southwest is the lowest figure, only 0.8%, as it operates only narrow-body aircraft Boeing 737. While Boeing 737 also has cargo capability, but presumably the same as other LCC, Southwest focuses on the passenger sector. Likewise, other American carriers also have a low figure. Usually, for domestic flights, American carriers mostly don't carry cargo other than passengers' luggage. Also, the American industry clearly cuts the distinction between the passenger and cargo sector. That's why FedEx and UPS are doing very well. Looking at European airlines, Lufthansa and Air France-KLM Group have a higher rate of cargo sector because they operate cargo aircraft as well. IAG does not operate cargo aircraft, but still higher than the US carriers, maybe because their portfolio of international flight is higher than the US. China Southern and All Nippon Airways also operate cargo aircraft, so they are high amount, whereas China Eastern is relatively low. Again, I believe that a high cargo ratio means it is more resilient against corona threat. From this perspective, I can imagine that US airlines are struggling with this. The good news is that some American passenger airlines won the contract to carry a massive amount of vaccine. It is reported that 8,000 additional cargo Boeing 747s are required to carry all of vaccines all over the world, according to IATA. Usually, a jumbo jet freighter can carry 110 tons approximately, so it means 880 tons. This is an outstanding big project which we have never experienced. I am going to report this furthermore details in regards to vaccine transport updates. Lastly, the domestic or intra-region flights are also important during the pandemic because many long-haul flights are currently restricted, but these short-haul flights are still remaining relatively. For some airlines like Qantas, domestic flights are the only source to make money because it has cancelled all international regular flights so far. According to my data, American carriers have a high ratio of domestic flights with a vast continent. Southwest does not have data, but it should have pretty high domestic share, as they operate limited international flight to Caribbean region and others. Asia, here, also have large volume of domestic share. In China, the case of corona remains low in recent days, so it is reported that passengers are returning to domestic flights. But some Asian airlines are struggling with their domestic flights like Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, and etc. On the other hand, in Europe, firstly their domestic market is so tiny. So I just put intra-region flight as well. Still, their ratio is very small. In this sense, it can be expected that European airlines have fewer passenger demands than other regions. We will see the details of this later on. So, that is it for this video. I am going to scrutinize more details with stock information as well in the next individual airline videos. I collected the information from Wikipedia, financial reports, and other sources. Please note that this financial information is as of 2019, so the COVID-19 is not included. Moreover, please keep in mind that I cannot guarantee you that this information is completely correct. After I look through all of each airline, I would like to summarize the information again, and if there is any mistake, I will try to update the last summarized video. Please make your decision with your responsibility. In the upcoming videos, I also look into the financial score of this year as well, so we can think about the case during the corona pandemic. Alright, see you guys and have a nice day.